All right. Here we are.
Yes,
now,
sir.
hold on. Let me get the introduction
Yeah,
right.
let
me get this.
Piece. Let me do your intro
So,
piece, man.
When I started off this podcast, I'm acting like this is like years ago. One man, one dream, with Adriana as well, of course.
For sure.
Respect. She's
Gotta
working.
shout out.
Somebody's got to pay for this. So.
Gotta shout out wifey, man. First of all.
And last podcast, I had Terrell on.
Mm-hmm.
First guest, comfortable coronavirus environment. And now I don't even know where to begin with the legend that we have with us today. I mean, some people would say he's the Puma Life CEO, second to only Meek, probably in all of Philadelphia with the Puma wear.
I'll take it.
He's probably got, put it this way, if you're trash at ball, he has not done your videos. That's how you know you're trash. Okay. So Duke, Kansas, Kentucky, trash, because we have not stepped foot on there yet.
Facts.
But Ryder, moving on up. Timber Creek.
Facts.
We could talk about that for days.
Home team.
So the home team right now is popping off of BCTV. I don't know. Do you want BCTV? We got. Maybe we shouldn't plug you want the personal page out there?
Nah, it's cool. It's cool.
What is the personal page?
It's just.
We don't even know anymore.
Yeah, it doesn't even matter.
It doesn't even matter.
Personal doesn't matter anymore.
BCTV. We got Brandon Cornelius in the house.
Sir.
Hey, here we go.
Let's get
Brandon is, one of my two oldest friends in the entire world. Grew down the street from each other, and this is part of the reason why I wanted to start to do this, just so I can have my friends on who are also doing very interesting things. Brandon's a videographer, photographer. I know I cap with all the bullshit, but in all honesty, genuinely, anything from, I think sports world is definitely where you're most active in. That's what people would definitely know you for the most.
Sure.
But you can take a picture of anything, a beautiful video of anything, and chop it up. And is that safe to say? That's been the grind.
You like my manager, man.
Bro, I need the check for sure.
I got you. 25%, man. You know what I'm saying? Day one home, you gotta support and show love.
So that's I think that's kind of it.
Yeah, I
just wanted to have you on and chop it up. I think you're very I think you have a great perspective on things, because you do have a true entrepreneurial spirit, and you for real make money off of your own business, not some I'm on Instagram and I take pictures. No, this is what you do every single day.
It's a grind. Yes,
and you network like a champ. I think there's a lot of levels to this that most people would say, I want to work for myself. Mm-hmm. I want to have a business. I want to do this. I want to do that. And I think it's easy if you look at Gary Vee all the time and you're like, I want to do what that guy does.
Yeah. They don't understand the grind that it's.
How hard do you think it actually is?
They say it's one of the hardest things to do, honestly, man. And, Gary Vee is a great example, because we see him now, but we don't see the 25, 30 years before that he's been on this grind. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? Trying to get to where he is, and constantly having to reinvent himself and pivot and adjust to the times and things like that. So that's why they say entrepreneurship is one of the hardest things to do in the world, because you don't really know until you know.
Yeah.
It doesn't really hit till it hits. Mm-hmm. You just got to continue to stay on this grind, and you don't necessarily have the safety or backing of a regular job with benefits, a steady check, and things like that. So, there's pros and cons to it, of course, and it just kind of depends on, if you're really passionate about what you're doing, and if you're willing to grind it out, and you're willing to take those lumps and falls, and you're willing to lose some money at first, mm-hmm. just to network and build up a good network of people that you can depend on, and then the money comes later. There's so many different factors to entrepreneurship, bro. But what I will say is that you can look at anybody who's ever done it at a high level, and it's literally the best thing that they've ever did was become an entrepreneur, because now they control their life for real, financially, time-wise, just peace of mind-wise, which is the most important thing to me. It's if you don't have peace of mind in anything that you're doing, then you're not doing the right thing.
Yeah. I think that the one of the factors that I feel like I've seen in anybody who's entrepreneur, anyone from my mom to mm-hmm. Jay-Z, there's
Yo, talk about what your mom does, cause you like. So
what
again,
about my
like
mom?
to reiterate, like this has been my best friend forever, right? And his mom does sign language, but I didn't know that it was her own business until like 1 or 2 summers ago, and I'm like, whoa, like you've been this the whole time, cause like ever since I've known her, she's been getting to it. I'm like, dang, her job is dope, but it's like her.
Yeah.
And it like opened up this like I already had an immense amount of respect, but it's just like from a business perspective, it was like, oh my God, like
yeah, it's funny when you talk to your best friend's mom about how she does her taxes.
Yeah. Yo, that's what it was.
Yeah. And you're like, oh, really?
Like,
Is that how you filed it?
Yeah.
Interesting.
Like,
yes.
But it wasn't that. I'm like, whoa, you're an entrepreneur.
Oh,
like
businesswoman though.
Yeah.
Hardcore. Oh yeah.
I'm like, oh my God. So like I was like, wow, okay. And that was one of the moments where I was like, all right, I'm on the right path. Because I'm sitting here for the first, what are we, 25? 23 years of my life thinking that she's working for a company, like, but not thinking that it's her own. So it was like really inspiring to be like, wow, like she really did that, you know?
And being, I think that it gets misconstrued sometimes with like what it means to be an entrepreneur. Yeah. Being an entrepreneur doesn't mean that you work for nobody and it's only you and this, that, like she self-contracts herself out. Like you choose the jobs that you do. You set the price of your work to a certain extent. I mean, you understand the field, so you're not overpricing yourself or undercutting yourself, but what I just didn't want to lose this point because I felt like this was super true for everyone. I think most people would say this, right? When you come into being an entrepreneur, you're not your skill level is obviously never as high as it's going to be the next day when you keep doing it over and over and over again. But there is this like very, very, very high sense of confidence. Like you believe in your ability to do this thing. Right. And the skill will come with it later. But what people are attracted to is your confidence in yourself that you can make this happen. Because I think from anything, right? If you're truly an entrepreneur and there's no daddy's money behind you or something like that, you're really doing it for yourself. There's no money. Like you're not doing this from some financial pedestal that you're just walking off of onto your next venture. Like
true startup.
You have to really cultivate this yourself, and that comes with, okay, then I'm putting out a video every single day, and I'm going to make it the best video that I can make that day. I'm going to do the best job I can do this day. I'm going to write the best lyric I can do this day, the best picture this day, and build off of that. But for me, it all comes down to the confidence thing, which in all honesty, like I would love for this to become an entrepreneurial thing, but the confidence behind it, sometimes I find myself falling behind, like, well, I need good lights and good gear and good cameras because that needs to hold it up if the content lacks.
You know what I mean? What's interesting about that, bro, is like, of course, you need confidence in anything you do, whether you are in a quote-unquote regular job. You need confidence to know that, you know, I'm the best one at this specific position, or else your boss is going to find somebody else. Same thing with entrepreneurship. It's like, if I have a couple who is having a wedding soon.
Just sit a little bit closer. I'm so scared. I don't want to miss any of this.
Good,
yes, perfect.
So,
lean in just a little. Yeah, I know. I'm listening to you and I'm also like, oh my God, this needs to sound good.
You got to wear different hats.
Okay, good, yes.
But I was saying, like, if you have a couple that is getting married soon and they're obviously starting to source out photographers, videographers, and things like that, and they approach you, not only do you have to have, obviously, samples that you can send, but especially in the day and age we're at now, where social media, you need to be like confident in what you do. It's like, hey, like, this is my work, this is how much I charge, and you need to be firm with that. You know what I'm saying? Because people are going to pick up on all of those little things that you may not be confident in, and this is the biggest day of their life, so they're not trying to just get anybody. They're trying to get the best of the best within their budget. So it's like that confidence plays a key. But on the flip side, it's like, what I found out is that you're not always going to be confident. It's like, again, no matter what you do in life, there's going to be so many other people that do the same thing. You know, especially in this world of social media where it's like, there's nothing too exclusive anymore. Like, people are going to pick up on a wave and just try to do it. So whatever lane you're in is going to be oversaturated. And sometimes it can get a little discouraging because you're like, you know what, like, I feel like I'm the best, but I may not be getting as much views as this person on Instagram, and I know my work is better.
I was gonna say, but I know my content is better than that.
But then it's like, but again, it's like with social media, a lot of times that content doesn't matter. It's like, what are your views like? How many likes are you getting? Who follows you? How many followers do you have? And it's so messed up sometimes. You know what I'm saying? So it's like sometimes for somebody who maybe on the fence with the entrepreneurship thing, because a lot of people come into it saying, you know what, I think being an entrepreneur looks cool, let me do it, and they don't really know the ramifications of like everything that comes with it. So they just jump in, and then they get into all this and they're like, well, I don't know anymore. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, it depends on just the type of person you are. Again, it goes back to like the passion that you have for it. You know, luckily for me, video, like anything creative has always been ingrained in me, you know, just subconsciously, just because of everything that I ever watched growing up, either movie, like, you know me, I love movies, documentaries. I watch SportsCenter every single day. So this was naturally something that I knew I wanted to get into. I didn't know it would be like actually behind the camera. Like, I thought at first I was going to be like a SportsCenter anchor. Like, that was my first dream job. I wanted to be like Stuart Scott and all them and things like that. And then as I started getting older, I was looking at the different shots, or like I would watch ESPN 30 for 30, or I would watch the SportsCenter specials, and I'm like, oh, this is like a really cool story. So I started to find out that there's people behind the scenes that are actually putting this together, you know, and really making the magic.
Who are really making it look the way
really
you
making
think
it look
good.
And we think, and this
that
is
dude
not,
is just sitting in a room alone talking, right? There's nothing around him.
Facts, bro. And it's not just even sports. It's like Disney. Like, we've all seen Disney movies, and as you get older, you're like, all right, like, these characters are dope, but like, who's making the characters? Like, who are the animators? Who are the, you know, DPs or directors of photography? People that shoot it. Like, who are these people? Because, you know, you get to a level of maturity to know that, all right, like, a lot of the Disney stuff is imaginative, but there's real work that's put behind this imagination that's created.
God, they work on those movies for like 5 years before they ever come out, right?
So once I started to see that, you know, I shifted more towards, all right, like, how can I get behind the lens, they call it, or like, how can I get behind the scenes? Okay. You know what I'm saying?
So the switch from wanting to be in front of the camera to behind the camera was more that you wanted to be the person to make it look like.
Because, you know,
that's what you realized you liked. You didn't actually like the ego of being in front of the thing is cool, but if you don't have any say over how you look, it's not worth it.
I want to be the person that paints the picture, and it's just me, bro. I'm not the center of attention all the time. It's just not me.
I was gonna say, it's not really your personality,
but I am the person that can sit back and just chill and peep the scene and see what looks cool, see what people are cool, and then I can vibe with you. But I'm not the one that's just gonna jump in a room and just light it up. You know.
No, but I was gonna say, I think you have a like the trait that I would put most with you is like a sense of agreeableness. Like, you have an ability to not judge someone. You can come in to a situation and feel it out and be a part of it and ingrain yourself in it. And then through that, people want you to be a part of it. And then if they have something that they want to show and you feel like you have something that you can show for them, then it's like this good partnership. But it's like you were saying with the networking thing. It's like, so much of that comes from you're just in the room. You're just there, right?
Just there, bro.
So going into it, because how long have you been doing this now?
I would say like 3 years now.
3 years now?
For real. Yeah, 3 years, yeah.
Because I think people know this about you, but I mean, you had a very successful baseball career prior to doing this. Yeah. And you walked away from that baseball career to do this.
Oh, man, dang. I haven't thought about that.
I mean, that's a real story. I mean, like, to play professional baseball. I don't know how else to say it. It's not like you're going to Japan. I mean, like, really on the grind in, I guess, what do you call that?
It was independent. Like, they called it indie ball, sort of independent circuit. But
actively working toward a Major League Baseball career. I mean, that's what you were doing your whole life.
Right. And it's how a lot of
entered the draft, trying to get drafted. I mean, you did the whole thing.
Did the whole thing. I mean, dang, bro, I haven't thought about this in so long.
I think that's what I want to talk to you about, because I think that I feel like I would be so like you put so much time and effort, literally blood, sweat, tears. It's your whole life is playing this. You go to school, but you got an education because of baseball.
Right.
Like, how did that decision, did it come as easily as you told it to me? Or did you really fight back and forth about like, I think I am done with this?
I mean, I don't think it's ever as easy as we put it. I think whenever we tell it to people, we're already at a certain level of, we have a certain level of peace with it to where we can be like, yeah, I just made it. But I mean, during the time, it's like you said, man, really growing up, my favorite sport was basketball.
Right.
Like I swore I wanted to be in the NBA. I didn't really watch baseball like that. I was never the biggest fan. I always tell people I just happened to be naturally better at the sport. Like in high school, I would play basketball all year round, and then whenever basketball was over, I would switch to baseball, and then I would pick up a bat and like hit a home run. Like it would just come naturally to me, which I'm sure made a lot of people mad because a lot of people put real work in all year round for baseball.
Walk through the open door, bro. Life's about working smarter, not harder. Come on, man.
For sure. So, I started realizing that baseball was what I was going to go to college for probably around junior year of high school. And just because I started getting interest and I had to go into like these showcases and I was doing my thing and I had the stats to prove it. Like Bro,
you're the only person in real life that I know who hit a walk-off grand slam in real life. I was like, what? Bro, I saw that on fucking Twitter and on the internet without you showing it to me.
Oh wow, I didn't know that.
You didn't know that?
I thought I sent it to you.
No. Wow. I was on my phone like going to bed because it was a night game or something, and I knew you were out in Syracuse or something playing some game,
right.
And I'm scrolling through my timeline and it was like retweeted because it was getting hella buzz, like real organic buzz, and I was like, oh, walk-off grand slam, oh, okay. And then I watched it, and then I heard the announcement, Brandon Cornelius, walk-off grand slam. I was like, I watched it like 4 times. I was like, what?
Man, bro. I did not know that.
That like just came to me. And then when I talked to you after, I was like, what? And you were like, yeah, bro, I don't even know. I was just up to bat, I guess. That's the moment.
That was like one of the highlights of my like career, so to say.
How cool of a feeling is that? Where people, you're bottom of the 9th, 2 outs. Is that did you stepping up to the plate?
I mean,
what's your thought process?
Yeah, I'll take you through it. So this is a summer league. So it was called the NYCBL, New York Collegiate Baseball League. I think at the time it was ranked like the 4th best summer league that you can go to in America or whatever. Most people hear of like the Cape Cod League, which is like what the top talent goes to. And this was like ranked 4th or whatever. So I would stay down in Syracuse for the summer. That's where my team was based out of. And we would travel all throughout New York State and Canada even sometimes and play. And then there would be like a lot of scouts there, a lot of exposure, a lot of pro scouts and things like that. So I think this was like a July night. I think it was July 20th.
Set the scene.
Yeah, I got to set the scene. July 20th, 2016. And this is the game that we needed to get into the playoffs, right?
Really?
Yeah.
Oh my God, this is like a movie.
Yeah, so bottom of the 9th, right? Game is tied. I'm up 4th that inning. So, first batter walks. Second batter gets a drag bunt, which is like you just bunt for a hit. They laid a bunt down. They made it safe. Third batter walked. Yeah, he walked, and then I'm up. So, at this time, the other team takes their pitcher out, and they bring like their stud in. And I think it might have been like Mariano Rivera's son or like something like that. Yeah, bro, it was crazy. Like he threw really, really hard. So everybody's like, oh, like they was hyping him up. So in baseball, like bases loaded, no out. And again, like you're just taught, look, first pitch you see, just swing at that thing. Like, because it doesn't even have to be a hit. It can be a deep fly ball into the outfield. It's going to score the run.
You're going to score and you win.
And we're going to win. So I'm thinking, I know he's going to try to throw me a fastball because he throws hard. So, like, I'm like, man, I'm just going to swing at this, John. Like, seriously, I'm just going to swing. Yeah. Like,
I'm going for it. That's in your mind.
I might as well. I have 3 swing. I have 3 chances to hit a baseball, right?
Right.
So he's done warming up. I'm locked in. And, I go up. And, like, 50 Cent, If I Can't, is playing.
Is that your walk-up song?
Yeah, that was my walk-up song. So you could probably play that at the bottom of this joint, dun, dun. So I'm swagging, right? I'm walking up to the plate. At this time, I'm hot. Like, at this point in the season, like, I'm on, like, a little hot streak, too. So I'm feeling myself. I'm like, yo, bases loaded, no out. game on the line. This is what you dream of. Like, I'm swinging the bat well. I feel like I can hit anything, right? So I step into the box. I'm bobbing my head or whatever the case may be. The catcher's like, yo, this walkout song is fire, bro. I'm like, yeah.
From the other team?
Yeah, like, he's right behind me. He's like, yo, this John bang. I'm like, yeah, bro, this is hard.
Oh, my God.
So I'm like, all right, ready. And I'm like, if it's not a fastball, I'm not swinging at it. So it's just got to be a fastball. And then lo and behold, he winds up. And then I load up for my swing. He throws a fastball, and I just remember just swinging at it. Like, a lot of times,
it was the first pitch.
It was the first pitch he threw. I mean, that's the best one to hit.
This is an amazing story,
because think about it. Like, as a pitcher, you just want to you don't want to walk the run in. So your first pitch, you're trying to throw a strike. Yeah,
right.
you're
just
getting
trying
this
to throw
work.
A strike. Yeah.
But as a hitter, I know that, so I'm like, all right, it's going to be a great pitch to hit. So I just remember it coming in, and I just throw my hands at it. And I don't feel the ball hit my bat. Like, that's how you know you really got it. When you don't feel it, like, it hits the sweet spot, and then it just goes, like, New York, like, Syracuse has, like, this deep night sky. So, like, after a while, that white ball just disappears into the black, and it's, like, it just goes. And we had a big ballpark. So I didn't, I knew I hit it well, but I didn't know if I hit it well enough.
Do you have to hit it like 250 feet?
Yeah, you have to
something
really
like that? Like,
smack that joint.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like 400 feet.
400 feet?
Yeah, bro.
You hit it center field?
Yeah, bro. It was a shot.
Oh, my
God. It was crazy.
God.
So I hit it. I don't feel it come off the bat. I see it go. And everybody starts going crazy, like, yeah. And I'm like, all right, I don't know if it's going. And then, if you get a home run, if the outfielders just, turn their back and they're like, all right. So once I saw that, and you can, y'all can see the video. I'm, jumping up and down. I'm like, yo, let's go. Everybody's going crazy. It takes me, 30 seconds to get around the base because I'm just hyped. I'm, jumping up.
Of course, this is the moment,
swinging my
bro.
arms. I'm like, yo, this is crazy. After I round third, I dap my coach up. I throw my helmet. I make the whole thing crazy. And then there's, this dog pile at the plate. And there's Snapchat videos of this. There's every type of video.
Yeah, I think you can find the video if you search for it on Twitter.
It was any type of video that was available at that time, it was on that joint. And it was the best moment ever. I just remember hitting it, and then I might have talked trash or you just in the moment. I had a game-winning grand slam. I'm just gonna say whatever.
Yep.
So I just remember, and everybody was going crazy, and it's I had to do the post-game interview. They, doused water on me. So it was, the whole moment.
You got the Gatorade bath.
Bro.
Yep.
It's, something you dream of, but it's, But
when you're living out that moment, it's, did it feel surreal, or did you feel you know what, I worked for this? I felt confident walking up there.
I mean, I definitely felt confident. I mean, it's a little bit of both. It's, you definitely work your whole life, and you picture these scenarios in your head to one day hopefully come through in that situation. Mm-hmm. So to do it, I could say I was prepared, but to actually have it happen, it's super surreal. It's you can't really write it, you know what I'm saying? And then that feeling stays with you for a while. Because I remember even to the next day, we had another game, and it was I was still off the high of just that moment. And everybody else on my team was, because that's when it was and
you're getting into the playoffs.
Yeah.
You get a whole second life out of that swing.
And it's it just means so much. And at that point, that next day, it was starting to trend a little on Twitter. So everybody was yo, BC, yo, this joint is going crazy. We were trying to get it on SportsCenter.
Yeah.
We was really trying to
I don't know how it didn't. That's I
don't know, bro.
The video. How do you know?
I remember everybody back home was yo, retweet this tweet.
Yeah.
And this, I'm not even on Twitter anymore, but this was when I was on Twitter crazy, and it was everybody was showing it love. I'm just getting calls left and right. And I have a game to go to, but I'm man, F that game. I'm still on this moment, you know what I'm saying? Everything after that was just cruise control. It's I don't you can't beat that, unless you win a championship, but
yeah. No, but crack open the inside baseball and what that life is really like when you're grinding to get to the major leagues.
Tough.
I think people don't understand that. Maybe with other sports, I mean, there's a minor league, and then you either make it to the league. But baseball is this really intricate, crazy farm system of you can do all these different silos of independent, minor. Neither of them really matter. You can get drafted from being independent league, or you can just get called up from single A, and it doesn't. You can choose all these different paths, and when we would talk about it, I'm like, dude, this is so many decisions to make. How can you possibly know which one? And I just remember after talking with you, it was more like, hey, you know what? I connect with this coach because I like this team.
Yeah.
And I know that if I'm performing at any of these levels,
you're going to get
right. Someone's going to see you, and then they pull you from this league to this league to this league. But you gave me so much perspective on if you see like a 23-year-old rookie in the major leagues, that motherfucker is so good at baseball. It's like unfathomable how when you're that young, like even these kids who get drafted right out of high school or in junior year, senior year, they may never play in the major leagues ever.
Bro, it's
such a crazy sport.
It's like a little circus, man. It's a circus, and
what's it like navigating that right out of school and you want to do it? Did you take advice from anyone?
Oh, of course.
Okay.
I mean, the best way I can put it is like baseball. From what I know, baseball is like the only sport where you can't, like, you have to go that route. Like in the NBA, you get drafted, you're pretty much in the league unless you get demoted to the G League, but whatever. Like,
right.
And there's
but
also
there's
overseas,
only the G League.
Yeah.
Or you're playing Euro.
Or you're playing overseas,
right. But you can still make awesome money doing it.
For sure,
right.
for sure. Baseball is the only one where you really have to like work through a system to get to the dance. You know what I'm saying? And it's like,
is it discouraging at times?
It's like entrepreneurship, bro. It's like you're for yourself. You don't make a lot of money. You're traveling all over the place. You're driving or you're carpooling with somebody that you may know, and everything is literally just about opportunity. Like that's.
And
really
are you
what
still coming out of pocket a lot
for the most part? Yeah. I mean, you can get paid, but it's like you're really coming out of pocket for a lot of things.
In terms of like,
especially at
cars,
first.
gas,
bro.
like. Will they put you up in a hotel at least?
Yeah, they would we would get discounts, but it wouldn't be like it would be like a Motel 6, bro. God. It wouldn't be like anything crazy, but it's the grind that you were willing to put yourself through because
your job is to play baseball.
Yeah, and there's so many people that you've seen in the MLB that have going through the same process. So you're like, all right, it can happen. Now, how long you're willing to do that is what makes or breaks it. Because there's people that were on my team that were like 34. And I'm like, man, all respect to you, my G, but I'm not doing all that. Yeah, nah. I don't love it that much to where I'm doing that. I knew that
keep going.
Yeah, I knew that my limit was like I was gonna give it like a year or two maybe. And, you know, if it didn't work, then I also knew that I had this backup of being creative that I already had started to build. In the background, I had already started to build up just myself as a creative with the camera, and I had to start to get known for that and things like that. So I was pretty, you know, for me,
But I think that's an interesting point that you gloss over. Yeah. You started the BCTV thing as you were playing baseball. Yeah. You did both of them.
Yeah. Well, yeah, it's crazy. So
you were literally getting sent content that you were editing and producing for. Yeah. I mean, it doesn't really matter who, but these other well-known. I mean, basketball players, like people hitting you up, like, "Yo, bro, where's my video at?" And you're moving your professional baseball career along.
Right.
Like, I think you underplay. That's a lot going on at the same time.
I think that's
especially as a young man, you're straight out of college. Yeah. I mean, you're kind of grasping at any opportunity that you got.
Right. And I think that's what ultimately played into the decision of me not playing baseball because I just remember I had just got signed to this team out in Cali, and we were about to go into spring training. And I was hyped. I'm like, yo, I got signed. like, you know, this is like a first stepping stone. And this was
truly like a farm system for like the Giants or the Dodgers or something like that?
It was a farm
California
team.
area?
Yeah.
Okay.
So it was like the real deal. And it was going to be like my first official team and things like that. And it was all set up. It was in the Bay Area where we were at. It was cool. Liddy again, bro. So I remember being in a hotel and like that whole time I was getting hit up to do all these videos. I'm talking like weddings and just like
a lot of money on the table.
A lot of money on the table, and I'm over here like
in a Motel 6.
Yo, I'm over here. At that point, I'm not gonna lie, they had it set up to where we were in a Holiday Inn, which was cool. Sheesh. So they did actually set it up really well, and the room was cool. But it was just like this principle of like, all right, like I'm still like penny pinching over here just to get food and just to make sure I'm good. Meanwhile, back home, or wherever, I'm getting hit up left and right about this video, that video. Come take pics here. How much do you charge? And I'm like, man, like,
you see this business budding and you're saying no.
And the thing to key in on is I had spent that entire year before building it. Like, BCTV really, I mean, I started doing videos, pictures and stuff like 2017, but BCTV really became a thing like 2019. Like, that's when it really was like, all right, I'm really going to take it serious. When you had the all systems go
full energy, I'm really this is what I do every day.
Yeah. And I literally, that's when I had a car. Within that year, I had put like 30,000 miles on my car. Yeah. Just like.
R.I.P. to that thing.
Yeah.
We got to get you a car, bro. I need a sponsorship or something,
we getting there, bro.
We got to get this car.
Rest in peace to the Hyundai Sonata, boy. It took me
1998.
everywhere. Facts, bro. Took me everywhere. But I say that to say, like, man, I was grinding, bro. Like, I had worked. I did all that work to build up some type of name to where I was kind of like in demand for different things. You know what I'm saying? So essentially, I had to not completely throw it away because I had built up like relationships with people who would shoot, and then, like you said, they would send me content, I would edit, we would split. Cool. You know what I'm saying? But I mean, when I was getting all those texts and calls like every day, I'm like, man, it just clicked. I was like, bro, like, I really love this video stuff. Like, I love to create. This is what I grew up watching. Like we talked about. Like, I grew up wanting to know how these amazing shows, documentaries, movies, cartoons were created, and now I get a chance to do that in my own way, and I can get paid. Like, and I can control my time and my money and what I'm doing. So like, all these factors came into play. While in baseball, the only thing I can control was how well I played. You know,
but even then, I mean, kinda,
right? Because baseball is a feeling.
You just
game.
Train. Yeah, you're just training to do well. Yeah. You can't actually guarantee the success. Right? Yeah.
So it's like, that was kind of like what helped me make the decision. Obviously, I had called, my dad. I had talked to my mom. I had talked to my best friend's dad, who's a bishop, and stuff like that. I had talked to, a couple of my big homies I was doing videos for. He played basketball overseas. Like, I was like, really like, yo, like, I'm thinking about making this decision, but I don't want to make it and then regret it. And then they were all like, yo, like, we all know that you're incredible at baseball, but like with this camera though, like that's where you're like, you like really. It's not a one in a million shot. Yeah, right. It's like, but you really separate yourself. Like, you are you with the camera. And I didn't even think that about myself back then. I was like, yo, I just do it. And I still think to that extent now. I'm not the person to be like, yo, I'm better than you. I just do what I think is cool. But a lot of other people think it's cool too. You know what I'm saying? So that's when I was like, all right.
I used to go to the basketball game with you, and I would.
You went to the Rider game.
I would help you or watch you do it as I watched the game, bro. And now there's 14 other 18-year-olds just wonking. It's very strange, bro.
You went to the Rider game,
It's a very strange thing where you watch these people recognize that you're there.
Yeah, it's cool.
And they work around you. So like, you have your spot.
We gotta tell them to set up. So
I was nice though. When I went though, I got the shot.
I was there.
I was like, I'm out. This is my one. I'm good. BCTV, throw the logo on it. I'm out.
The dope thing about this podcast is you can literally throw that video up, like just under, and so people can see the shot. I can send it to you. Yeah. It's in the video I did. Yeah. So
go to BCTV or on Instagram and go look through it.
Or do that.
And you can find any of them.
To set it up, I had brought Nate, because Nate loves, like, Nate's creative as heck, and he had just bought a camera. He was hype about the camera. So I'm like, bro, like, Ryder has a game on Sunday afternoon. Like, if you're free, let's pull up and just help me shoot or whatever. I didn't know what I was going to really have him do, but I'm like, yo, like, it's also just a good vibe.
I was literally just there with my camera, just to be there.
But it was cool because, we walk in, they had the tickets for me or whatever, like, and then we walk in, and then,
I got comp my tickets, and then the cop looked at us. I was like, oh, shoot. Like, are we in the way? He was like, no, am I in the way?
Yeah,
I was like, that's right. Bro. Yeah, you are in the way.
That's
bro, I need the shot.
Like, that's what I'm saying.
He was like, oh, yeah, I can back up. It's okay. Do you guys need the shot right here? I was like, bro, what the fuck is going on right now? Like, he was like, no, I'm not telling you, dude. Like,
Yeah.
this is what happens. Like, I show up to the game and they know, like, I'm here to
Yeah.
get this popping.
Right, bro.
I was like, oh.
And it's only because I had been there so much that it's like you said, I had begun to like just create these low key relationships with people throughout the whole gym. So like they know that first half I would be behind the other team's bench and I would have my little area or whatever that I was shooting, and then the cops would be cool. Like they would make sure like it got to the point where they would make sure that nobody was walking in front of my camera when I was shooting. Like they were like, "Yo, hold on." And these people paid tickets, so I'm like, "Bro, you don't got to do that." But they were like, "Nah." And the people would be cool because people started to know, like, "Oh, yeah, like you're the guy, like you're BCTV." Or whatever. I'm like, yeah. They're like, oh, no, get the shot. We love the videos. I'm like, dang, this is crazy. So first half I was there. Second half, Ryder has this bandstand, I think you can call it, right?
Mm-hmm.
Well, yeah.
It's kind of like up on.
Yeah, like, it's like an upper level.
Because it's a gymnasium as well, so they like play music on the side.
So they have their band there, and then there's like some other fans there. So I usually have my spot there. And everybody knows I have my spot. So, like, when they see me coming up, they're like, oh, like, they'll move and stuff like that. Or they'll just chill next to me and, like, say, oh, like, oh, the video's fire. I can't wait for this one. How do you do this? How do you do that? Or whatever. And you were there to see it, like, actually happen. And
it's very cool. Yeah. It's very cool to
and
watch.
You even got some love, too, man. I think a couple of the girls from the team, like, were, like, showing you love.
Yeah, what's up, white boy?
But that was my favorite part because it's like, all right, it's cool that, you know, I could do all this by myself, but to bring you along and then to have you a part of it, and you actually got the shot. Like, I didn't get, like, the shot is of Christian dunking the ball, which, like, made it on Sports Center and everything.
Yeah. Oh, yes, it actually did go on Sports Center. I was like, come on, bro. Right. Where's my residual at?
Yeah, so the play, they had an out-of-bounds play, and all the games that I had been at, I had never seen them throw a lob out of bounds. So I'm trying to, at this point, I'm just trying to get some pictures off.
Yes.
Like, low-key.
You were taking pictures behind the basket of the foul shot. Yeah. Which they all love because it's, like, a really intense moment.
So at that point, it had happened so fast that I missed a shot, right? So when it happened, they looked at me like, yo, you got that joint? I'm like, yeah, I got that. Y'all know me, man. I got that joint. I look over to Nate. I'm like, yo, you got that? He was like, yeah. He was like, yeah, I got that. And then I knew he got it because, like, all of, like, again, the girls from the team, everybody was surrounding your camera looking. I'm like, all right, bet we got that joint. I was like, yo, if I would have missed that shot, oh, my God.
No, that was the funny thing. When I got it, it was almost this moment of, like, I think I got it.
Yo.
I think I got the moment of the game.
But
it was just crazy. Yeah. It was an inbound pass, and then it was like a lob from inbound, right? And he banged this thing on another. Like, it was aggressive. Yeah. Like, it was like, oh, shit. Okay.
It was crazy.
Everyone went wild. And then it was that moment when I had the camera and I played it back, and then I looked up, and I saw everyone around me looking at me. And then I was like, oh, yeah, I got it. Yeah, and they were like, yo, let me see that. They all come over. I was like, we good. Brandon was like, all right, bet. We don't need to do the rest of the game.
Even to preface that, right? Because in warm-ups, you were getting shots. I'm like, all right, like, you can stand here. Or I was even telling you how to zoom in, like, as they're shooting.
It's hard.
Yeah. And I was telling you, like, all right, you got to kind of have a feel for the game. So it's like, if you see they're about to shoot, you know, let them shoot and then zoom in on the ball as it's nearing the basket.
And that's what I did with
that's
that
what
one.
You did with
because I was like, oh, he's going to throw the ball up, so I'll just zoom in on the ball as it goes out, and then I'll zoom out. But when I zoomed in, I just grabbed him dunking the ball. I was like, that's just the moment, though. You know, when you're just there, you're like,
that's the
I just pressed the button at the right time.
That was the money shot, bro.
But what I think that, because all these stories are amazing, but with your content that you made, you did an interesting thing where you started to feature music over it. Because on Instagram, unlike YouTube, which sucks because I can't play Many Men underneath this because it'll get claimed and I can't have anything. You started to, I think originally you were doing like beats or like some music.
Yeah,
you were kind of like
instrumentals.
Like, but then you started to just do the song. Because on Instagram, you can take whatever the super hot Lil Baby song is, put it behind that game, and then that gives you a whole attitude, and that's what you edit to. And you already have your formula, which is great, and that's why you can crank it out the way that you can.
Right.
But, like, one, the formula is special because that's what people like to see. But also, like, we would be when we were going to the games in the car when we're together as well.
Songs,
It's interesting to talk about it because you oh, have you heard this song? That's what I'm doing the next song to. And you get to also, I mean, you can do the new Rick Ross song, which will be a slapper and everyone will like it.
Right.
But also you find the newer hits are like the people from Philly or that area or someone on the team really likes and enjoys. And I think that for me, whenever I watch the videos, I mean, I love the music, but do you ever think about how, I mean, that song is going to draw someone into wanting to watch this full video because you choose the most awesome 30 seconds of it, and then they're like, oh yeah, I love this song. I can watch basketball highlights over this.
The song is the main crux of the video. I edit to the music. You know what I'm saying? So the song is, for me, it's the most important part. Like, and
it gives the whole energy behind it. Because you do a great job with the crowd sound and the band and stuff. It's really, really good the way that it's all brought in.
That's what I love about the live games is that you can incorporate all of that. Because basketball is a sport where, well, any sport you can do this where the actual sounds of the game are music too. They are their own instrumental.
Right. It's like when they're pumping baseball crowd sound in. You're like, this would suck if I didn't hear anything.
Exactly. Like just the squeaking of the floor, the the swoosh of the net. That's my favorite sound when you just hit something on net and it's just like that beautiful sound. Obviously the crowd noise, just like whatever the case, like these are all instruments that can play into a video. You know, you can do whatever you want with them. You can cheat the audio. Like I cheat the audio a lot. Like it's so much you can do. Like so if I know, I'm trying to think of a good example. If I know there was a moment where the crowd was super hype, you know, I can take that audio and apply it to like a whole different play. Like if it was a dunk, and I know when the person dunked it, like the crowd got hyped, but not as hype as this other time. That's when I can just cheat it, put it under that, and make it like its own thing.
Interesting.
So like that's the one thing that I love about, you know, creating videos is that, you know, you can just kind of create your own swag with the music selections. Like the one thing that I pride myself on, man, is like it's cool to like put the new Drake song on there and stuff like that, but I try to be different. I try to do something that's like low key, but it slaps. Or I think it's the next thing coming up. And I think the best example of that is like I did something with one of my big homies, Bilal Ben, at Workhorse Academy, Get With Him, basketball training.
Yes, sir.
And we all know the Lil Baby song We Paid Now, right? That song just got popping like a month ago just off like TikTok or something. But we did a video to that like in May. You know what I'm saying? Just because I'm listening to the album, I'm like, yo, this song is hard. Like nobody's listening.
That album's incredible.
And I just put that on. And then to see like 2 months later, it's the song, and I hit Bilal. I'm like, bro, you know, we was on this like from the rip, and like that's the stuff that gets me hype. It's like, man, because I love music, bro, and I love listening to new music, old music, and I can incorporate all of that into my videos and make them different. Because the common person's just gonna like, again, like there's probably gonna be so many songs to like Pop Star and Grease and like whatever the hottest new song is, which is dope, but you know, just kind of having your own swag with it.
It's almost too easy. It's the cheat code.
It's predictable. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? But if I can take, you know, this underground, like this album cut off a Lil Baby's album or whatever and make it a thing. Or my favorite thing to do is to combine songs. And that's what we did for the video. We had 3 different songs in that video. And they were
that
all
video was
like
crazy.
They were all like just things you had never like heard in a while, like Benz, Travis Scott. I think we did Monsters and Villains.
I remember that whole car ride up.
That was all
we were just going
about.
back and forth like what's the hottest possible banger
and we were
song
sequencing it too because I was like, yo, all right, this part's gonna open it up and then it's gonna go into this part. Like people don't see that. It's like there's so much that goes into making these videos.
Well, it's so smooth. It's your job to make it look easy. It's supposed to look like the best thing they've ever seen. But when you took that to the next level and you started to make these playlists on Spotify with all the music, I was like, see, Brandon, like that's what it's about. Like people would not think to do that.
That's the entrepreneurial
but people are super interested in that. It's like, oh, so what do you listen to? Because you said you put it up for fun, but then like people actually start to not just listen to it, they add the playlist. Right. Like
it's dope. Man.
Oh, okay. What am I, DJ Premier? Like, what is going on?
Because it's like,
and that's such a cool other thing to bring into it too. I just think there's things like that they're so multifaceted, and you can choose to just make a video.
Mm-hmm.
But I think like even the movies that we love to watch, the best ones are like, man, that music was so good. Like whether it's like sampled or licensed music, or it's really like John Williams style, just incredible orchestral sound that's happening right now. You don't realize that the video that you make is tremendous, but without the right music behind it, the music carries everything.
It's not going to hit the same.
Everything. And to put so much time into listening to the music and trying to find the right moment.
That's what being a real creative is. That's like at the highest levels of this is what's thought about. There's budgets for not only camera work, there's budgets for music. Like there are people out there who are like, all right, like what are the next sounds coming up that we can put in these videos or in these soundtracks to these shows and movies so that we can be ahead of the wave. And I think of like Issa Rae in Insecure, like she really prides herself on obviously the black music, but like the up and coming artists that aren't popping yet. Like she'll put them on the soundtrack. That's kind of how I approach BCTV. It's like, you know what, like if I can, again, it's easy to take the newest Drake song, and don't get me wrong, if the newest Drake song
we
is
were just saying like both of those songs are
if it's
awesome,
a slapper and you have a vision for it, yo, put that out, because it's about the content at the end of the day. For me, it's like, all right, like if I can, like I'm a fan of like throwback music too. So it's like if I can put this whole song that I really love and really changed my life, and I can make a video to it, I'm going to win because nobody else is doing that. Or like my favorite series that I do is called Poetry in Motion, right? So it's just this slow down, whether it's in a game or it's in a workout, like it's just this slow-mo video of somebody doing something. But where I take it to the next level is the music. So I'll put a favorite song that I might have, like the one I did with Jeff, I did Pound Cake by Drake and Jay-Z. But I started the video with the sample that they use, which is Ellie Goulding or whatever.
Yeah.
Like she's a singer.
Yeah.
And I used her part that they used in Pound Cake to start the video.
Is that the sample in Pound Cake is her?
Yeah, that's her, bro. I can't sing.
Really?
But like, yeah, that's her like harmonizing.
What's it from?
It.
Do you remember
it's
the song?
It's her song. I forget. It's on the playlist though. Poetry in Motion. Hit the link in
Yes,
BCTV
sir.
Media bio. Go check that joint out. But it's her harmonizing over it. Yeah, exactly. And I'm thinking like in my head, I'm like, yo, that would be fire for like the Poetry in Motion because it's slow motion. And then what I'm doing now with it is I'm taking it from slow motion and I'm doing it regular speed. And when it hits regular speed, then it'll go into the Drake and Jay-Z song or whatever. Like After Hours of Il Molino, like it'll go into that. So it's like my own swag. And then on top of that, I got a playlist that you can have all these songs. Like you can have the song that's popular and the sample that it used, so you can like tag along with it. And eventually it's gonna be a thing because people sell playlists. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So that's what I'm thinking. But that's the entrepreneurial spirit that we're talking about. It's like just having that ingenuity to know like, all right, like playlists are always gonna be popping, and I know that I have this. I don't know if it's a new concept, but I have this unique concept that I'm building out and people really, really like. And I can combine both worlds and make it my own while people can get their fix too, because they can hear some cool music or they can hear music that they liked, you know, that samples something that they would have never heard before. Yeah. And now they like that song and they hit that artist or whatever. Or, you know, most preferably, I can take a local underground artist whose music I bang with heavy, put them in the video, and now people watch the video and they can stream their music now. And then, you know, whenever they blow up, it's like, yo, you was the first one to like really put my music on, and like, you know, so that's what it's really about for me. So everything is like really just about gearing towards the big picture, but also staying grounded in the present to know like what's popping, you know, what songs are cool, what artists are cool, and things like that. Yeah, bro.
I just honestly I think that here, maybe when I'm with you, like you talk. Yeah. But you don't really talk that much.
Nah, I don't really ever get into depth.
I love listening to you like talk about everything that you think about, because you don't really do. Not that, and there's a difference. If someone asked you, you would talk to them like this. It's not like a secret. But it's just your personality. Like
Yeah.
if it's the two of us in the room,
Yeah.
or me with anyone, I'm probably talking more than that other person. But like, I just, yeah. Anyway, yes, no, that is awesome, and to find like the segues in your life where it sounds corny, but like really following what you want to do. I mean, I've never had an opportunity like baseball or anything like that to choose between to get to do it.
Right.
And to try to take it to the next level and do your own thing. And I think that's why it's funny, like when you say, oh, after talking to my mom about things like that, is having someone even like my mom or someone in a professional aspect at all who manages themselves, their finances, their time, and you talk to them about it and you realize that there's a whole part-time job of your life, which is just managing those things to get you to the job. And I think that everyone has those certain aspects of it. Like even with me working a more corporate style job where my time is like set out, I have my schedule, I understand that. But then outside of that, I think people just don't think about it. It's like, sure, maybe you're an entrepreneur and you have more time to yourself, but that time you're working more. You're working harder because you're like, okay, I'd worked, but now I got to pump out this content. I got to think what else I'm going to do. How am I getting to the next thing? Where's the next check? And I think that's the biggest thing is like, I've always said it to you, man, I would love long term for me to own my own business. And I definitely could still see myself doing that, but getting myself off the ground financially is like, that's a personality thing is like, I just can't grind it like that for that long. Like you do, but you also, it's not only this confidence, but you truly have oh geez, I'm way more cynical than you. You have a belief in the world that this shit is going to work out. I just don't have that. I'm like, I just like, I gotta like work. I'm too reliant on myself, I guess I would say. And you're very good at walking into the moment unexpectedly, finding the good out of it and taking it there. And I just admire that. I try to do that more and more and more. Because for me, I don't know, do you experience any anxiety? Is that a thing that hits your life? Do, bro. What gets you anxious?
When...
Because you feel like, to me, you're like cool as a cucumber. Like I've never seen you hit a point where it's like, well, fuck it, this is it. Like I can't do anything else.
I think that's where the peace of mind comes in, right? That we're all striving for. You know what I'm saying? Just peace of mind. Your peace of mind is getting yourself financially off the ground enough to then one day get into like what you do. My peace of mind just comes in knowing that I'm doing what I love to do, and I know it's going to make a lot of money. Even if the first few years may be a little bit of a struggle, I know that my content is good enough to where it's going to just happen. And when it happens, I'm going to be good. But
what do you struggle with now? Like, what's the anxiety?
The anxiety, it comes in so many ways. Sometimes you just hit a creative block, man. It's not, the flashlight isn't, the bulb isn't always on. Like, sometimes the work can get monotonous. Sometimes I'm doing videos every day and it's like the same thing and I can't really get into it or whatever. And then on top of that, you know, a lot of these kids, I'm not calling them kids, like whatever, but
to be fair, they're 7 years younger than you, sometimes even more.
A lot of times they're like, yo, where's the video? I'm like, bro, I just got home.
Chill, I didn't just get home from high school. Like, I'm working.
I just got home, bro. Like, they don't consider that there's you have your life to live outside of their little video that they're going to put on Instagram. They've been off from school since 1:59. They're going to put on Instagram and it's going to get love for a little and then people are going to forget.
Bro, this is my job.
Chill. And then you're going to end up asking for another one. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So it's like sometimes it's like, all right, like I wish there was a way I can control it, but it's also
is from what I hear though, is that like managing expectations? Like timelines, like
I mean,
all right, I'm doing a lot.
One of the biggest pros and cons of like me is that I can do a video very quickly.
Yeah, I was gonna say this gets rest for what? You can pump out a video in 12 hours, like multiple
A basketball video I can knock out in an hour.
Oh, no, but I mean, like
a real video.
Like if you're working that day. Like yo, give me 12 hours. I gotta do 2 jobs. Sure. I'm gonna come back and do it. Like,
I'm definitely a king of the same day delivery, and I think again that's
which is definitely a competitive advantage. People do not do that,
and that's why I don't mind
same day delivery.
Yeah, that's what we call it, same day delivery.
That's great. I love that.
What I'm saying? And again, just knowing your audience, like people like that. It's like, all right, I just
They
got
want it now.
done. Yeah, I just got done this, and it's here, and it's fire. So you're not gonna want to go to anybody else because it's like, yo, I know if I go to BCTV for anything, basketball video, whatever, it's like I've done. And shout out to my big homie Kyle Hines and his whole family. Like I've done family events for them, and they're still amazed to this day. Where it's like I'll do the event, and then like that night I'll have the video, and they're like, "Oh my God, like this just happened." But that's how I've built my business and my brand. It's like a big part of that is knowing that you're gonna get it quickly, and it's gonna be fire. You're not getting it, and it's a rush job. I've really thought about this beforehand. I've storyboarded this whole video so that when I go to shoot, I'm just shooting what I've seen in my mind, and I can go to my laptop and edit it and get it back to you. Because I've already planned out the songs like we talked about. I've already planned all that out, you know, and that's really a challenge for me. And I always go back to our Rider game because that was like the real example of you seeing like how I do things. It's like, all right, let's choose this song. All right, we know we're picking these three songs. So now in the game, it's just picking the best moments of the game. Then we go back to, you know, your apartment, and I start chopping it up like it's nothing. And it's like,
oh yeah, man,
it's done.
It's definitely what I would love to see for my life long term. But I think we were also talking about this a little bit before. What's the, like, if there was one thing that would help you the most right now to take it to the next level? Is it an employee? Is it more money? Is it better equipment? Like, what is the thing?
Definitely better equipment for sure.
Okay.
That's always on the list. I mean, just resources in general. So I guess all of that can be obtained with money and things like that. So I know if I had more money or if I had more resources, then the videos could actually be a lot better. Because a lot of people don't know, like, I operate off like a very old Sony camera, and it's like,
I wouldn't say it's that old.
I mean, it's a 63, so it's been out like 6 years or something. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, it's not the newest joint by any means. You know what I'm saying? But I've just mastered it to the point where I can make it look a certain way. But I definitely know that I want to get into like red cameras, like how they shoot music videos and movies. Like those, that's where I want to be. Like movies, like, you know, we always would go to the movie theater and watch these movies.
Man,
like
I miss it so much, dude.
What was the war movie?
1918.
1918.
That was mind blowing for both of us.
It was
we walked away from that movie. I was like, do you even know how to start to make that movie?
That's what I'm saying. It's like we don't look at content.
I don't know.
Regular.
I just watched that thing and left.
Like a lot of people go to movies and they just watch a movie. Like me and Nate will go to these movies and we pick films. We're not just watching like the craziest.
We will see Shazam and stuff like that too, but
we watch films, and it's like our conversations after are like, yo, like how they shot that thing is crazy. Like the colors, like this is what we talk about. So that's what I want to go to.
I think it's safe to say that everyone outside of us hates it.
Right.
No one else wants
Nobody else would do that. Nobody else would do that, but I think that's what's dope. It's like,
I would love to do that once we can go to the movie theater again.
For sure.
To do something like this after that.
Yeah. Oh my God. Because our conversations will be so crazy. Like we'll talk about freaking character dispositions and story arcs, lighting. Like, yo.
I just think that like I don't know, man. Sometimes I just can't imagine like walking through life and having like, I don't know, not very deep interest in something. I feel like I talk to people all the time in my job, and I'm like, do you like things like intensely, like, or no? Do you just go on social media after work and like try to do something? I really miss that part. And I don't mean to shit on people. Like, hey man, everyone's different. Do your thing. Like whatever makes you happy. But like, I really miss being able to like go to the movies and talk about it and see it like with you, make the time. Also make like the little financial investment in it. Even if it was $5 movie Tuesdays, it's like
it was worth it.
And you talk about that, I think, as well with any product that you're making. That, you know, same day delivery type thing. We can laugh at it, but it's true. Like we would definitely go see certain movies for $5. And other movies I will pay $15 for. Like if it's 1980, it's a huge blockbuster Academy, and it wins Best Direction, Best Picture, Best Photography. Like, okay, I'm walking in here my $15 better be the best freaking thing I've ever seen in my life. And sometimes it really doesn't hit. And we've walked away a lot of times like, I don't know, bro. I didn't think that was that good.
There's been a couple. But I think for us, it's like just we're also weird too, just to say. We're weird. So we get adrenaline off watching these films that are so beautifully shot because we're really into it. Like,
it's an art form, man.
Your parents came from the acting world, so you already had an appreciation. Yeah. I don't know how the hell I became interested. I just knew that is that fireworks? That's fire. Okay. That's random.
Fireworks outside?
Yeah, bro. Yo, what are they doing fireworks for?
Oh, wow. Oh, God.
Okay. Cool.
I was like, what's today?
See, it's like things like that. I'm like, yo, like what made people just
what's going on right now?
Shoot fireworks. But I think, it's just like, again, your parents came from that world, so they already had an appreciation. So whenever they watch movies.
Did you ever think that you grew up in that world with me?
I didn't even think about that.
You lived in my house for the first 8 years of your life.
Yeah, literally, bro. Literally. I didn't even think about that.
I think that, and not to transition too far out of here, but I talk about that a lot with my parents and stuff like that. We've had like really great conversations because only through growing up on the same street as us, if everyone grew up the same way we did, that means that everyone would have grown up knowing a black person, a Jewish person, a gay person, a Christian person, all these different things. Yep. And people don't grow up on a street like that, let alone from a very young age where you don't even recognize it. It's just the world that you live in, and this is my street, and this is what I do, and these are my friends, and this is where I am. Yeah. And if more people grew up in those settings, you don't know me different from anyone else. Right. That's why you can walk into a judgment-free zone and just say like, okay, well, I only know you because you play basketball. To me, you play basketball. Yeah. Whoever you are outside of that is whoever you are. But I'm not like worried about, well, what are you behind this thing and what do you believe in and da-da-da-da. No, we can just be friends because you live next to me.
Right.
That's it. Like that's the only connection. And I think it's really, really, really important where it's really cool moments like that where you're like, I don't know how I ever got into that. I'm like, because your whole life you grew up with my parents singing show tunes and watching musicals and watching movies with my parents. That's my mom making popcorn for us in the basement. Man. And it's all those things add up in your mind where you're like, well, that's what I do.
Wow.
Right? Like,
that's very true.
Play basketball outside down the street. That's why you love basketball. That's what you played. That's the only, because Shane had a basketball net.
Facts.
Right?
He's the only one.
Where there's a basketball court at the park across the street.
Facts.
I think those little things like that really do add up in your brain. And then it's natural for you to say like, well, I want to be a part of something like that. You know?
Wow. That's where that self-awareness comes in, man. Because I think a lot of people glance over how they grew up, or they only focus on.
It defines you, of course. That's why I can't hold anyone at fault. If you grew up in the middle of Idaho and all you know are white people and farming and nothing, if that's great for you and that makes you happy, that's fine. But that's why you feel safe in those conditions. Right. That's why when you go to Atlanta and you meet a bunch of black people, you're like, whoa, this is not okay. And you're like, no. It's okay. It's just, it's been happening here. It just hasn't been happening over there for you.
The issue is that, I mean, obviously with everything going on right now, the issue is that people don't care enough to consider those kind of things, because we're so quick to be like
other people.
Yeah, we're so quick to be like, yo, if you support Trump, I don't like you. And you know, we all know Trump's not a great person, obviously, but that's not the way to approach people. Yeah. Like, how about trying to get to know them? Now, if they come off just like douchey and all that, then I don't want nothing to do with you. Yeah. But it's like, you know, we a lot of times we don't consider the environments that people grew up in to make them the way that they are. And I feel like the more we can understand other perspectives, the more clarity we can have on how we treat other people and how we view the world. Again, especially now when it's like you either have to be on one side of the fence or the other. There is no in between. And we had talked about this a little. It's like when the whole thing, with George Floyd happened, and everybody was putting it on Instagram, and they were, and I saw like some stories that were like, if you have white friends and they don't post, then they're not your friends. And I was like, I see where you're coming from, but there's a deeper level to that. You know what I'm saying? It's like, and I always use you as an example. It's like, man, at the end of the day, I'm damn near Jewish. For real, for real. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I grew up with a Jewish family who took care of me more than a lot of people in my own family. So why am I now all of a sudden, because you didn't post on Instagram, now you're not my friend after 20 something years of y'all taking care of me? After the time I frequently, like, you guys are Jewish. I was like in middle school. I did a report on Hitler. I did a report on the Hitler Youth in my best friend's Jewish family's home. And I was ignorant to like that whole thing, but they didn't hold it against me. It was like just this innocent thing.
That was one of the greatest things ever.
Yeah, and I look back, I'm like, man,
both doing our homework. And
that was so messed up.
And Brandon is just like literally looking at Google images of Nazis and swastikas.
Like, this is a Jewish
and my mom
home.
was like, "Hey, Brandon, what are you working on?" And he was like,
God.
I
don't even think that was my reaction, because I didn't know enough.
I'm just writing a report on Hitler and Hitler Youth for history. And she was like, "Oh, okay." Like, I just wonder what you're looking at on the internet there.
So innocent that I was like,
But that's what's so precious about it. Is like, you know you're so safe here. Yeah. You know your intentions are pure. Right. I am not here trying to do something like that. But I want to get back to the point that you made, because I want you to know that I was not blind to that, but oh man, just like the way you said it, I just didn't feel like and I talked to so many people about this, because I really felt some type of way. I was like, look, no one looked at what happened to George Floyd and said that was okay. Right. No one. There's no one. If you said that's okay, you're a bad person. Yeah. Off rip, there's non-negotiable. But I just felt like at that point I guess currently now, but really in that moment, like right after George Floyd with the Black Lives Matter movement, what was happening is the way that I could impact and like show my alliance and appreciation and love is to have Terrell on the podcast, a gay black man, to talk about how the differing views of Black Lives Matter, how he interacts in it as a gay man, and how he interacts in the gay world as a black man, which are two very difficult, hard things for someone to do. Yeah. Also, having you on, showcasing you now, not to say like this is my black friend, right. But to say like this is the way that I feel most comfortable showing the allegiance that I have to people. And the Black Lives Matter thing for me got so politicized so quickly, and I was very divisive in how I felt about protesting versus rioting, because for me, when all that was happening, I still can't justify the looting and the rioting and the destroying of things. Yeah. Only because on my Instagram feed, the people that I know just from my life, is majority of them are young black people who own shops who I'm looking at online, and they're pleading for people to stop destroying their stuff, waiting in their shops with guns and trying to fend people off and loot. I'm like, that just doesn't seem right to me. That doesn't seem like the way that you're affecting change. You're hurting your brothers and sisters. Like, I don't want to be a part of that. I don't want anyone to be a part of that. I don't want to destroy anything. I want the change to happen. And once again, I get that the protesting can only go so far. You have to make your mark and make your stand. Yeah. And 100% I get that. Yeah. But at that point, it just felt like if I post this, it is not getting my point across. It's not saying that I'm like, hey, look, I'm here for Black Lives Matters and gay rights and everything like that, 100%. But the little black square that I would have to post, it seemed like it was all diminished value. Everyone was posting it. I'm like, okay, I can do that, but what does that really mean? What am I really doing? And that's what people were saying, like, I want to really do something. And in my mind, I was like, what can I really do? Mm-hmm. I can use any platform that I have to show love to the people that I have in my life, because I truly don't discriminate with anyone in my life. And I didn't want anyone from like black culture to take it the wrong way that I wasn't with you. but I just couldn't justify saying anything because I truly was struggling with what I was watching. Right. And I saw people who were going to these protests and these riots and seeing people who were doing things that I didn't agree with, and then also seeing things that I did agree with. Because at the same point, I'm like, hey, we're in the middle of a pandemic. I want you all to protest, but like, oh my God, there's 100,000 people all like. How is that safe for everyone as well? Like, I just kept finding myself teetering back and forth, like you said, and I think that when you fall in the middle, which is where I find myself a lot, it can be seen as, well, you don't support me. Yeah. And if you don't support me, then it's fuck you. And I'm like, that is not how I live my life. So my platform and everything that I do is going to identify with the way that I make my life decisions. Yeah. So once again, I'm going to be in the middle and I'm going to find my way to like fit this in and talk about anything. Because once again, I want to hear what you have to say because you are an African-American male in America. Yeah. And what I've always said, which is 1,000% true, and I'll always stand by it, is I can be a white Jewish man and be like, I'm a minority, which is true. Mm-hmm. I've listened to horrible anti-Semitic things that people say to me because they don't know that I'm Jewish. And you swallow that pill and move on the same way that you've been in situations where people say horrible racist shit near you because they think you're cool. Yeah. And you're like, I hate you now. But we're going to keep moving on from this. But at the end of the day, I can tuck my chain and say I'm not that. You don't have that possibility of being like, well, that's just not what I am. I don't identify as a black man. You're like, no, that is what it is. So it still is easier for me. And one of the, not to keep ranting about it, the last thing I'll say is the most important thing that ever really got through to me when I was younger is my dad. I was like in the car with him or something, and there was some protest or something that was happening at that point years and years and years ago. And he just looked at me and I said something, as a kid, just like, well, I don't get it. Why are they doing that? And he was just super serious and just said, like, you have to understand, you have the golden ticket. Like, you were born a white man. It doesn't matter what you identify with or your religion. That's something that you can always hide about yourself. You need to always consider the people who are out there fighting for these things. They cannot hide who they are. Right. Wow. Imagine living with that, where you want to be yourself, and there's people who say, well, I can see who you are, so I'll choose to deny that from you. You can always lie. Like, you can, not lie, but I can, frankly. If someone asked me, I could be like, no, I'm just not that. Right. And that always stuck with me. And from that point on, I was like, okay, then I'm just going to always be around situations or people and connect with them and and literally physically stand by them. I think that's the difference. It's like, if you hit me up and said like, hey, I want to go to this, like, will you come with me? I would have definitely done it. Wow. But from the perspective of like just putting something on Instagram, I was like, what am I going to do? What Justin Bieber's doing? Right. I don't agree with Justin Bieber on most of the crazy shit that he posts all the time. Right. To me, it's not like realistic. I don't align with most of these people who are putting up this box. So why am I putting up this box in solidarity with a bunch of people that I don't stand with? Right. Man. I mean, first of all, I hope that comes off the right way, bro. That's why because truly there's no hate in my heart for anyone, but it was like a rock and a hard place, man. I'm like, what am I supposed to do?
I was going to say, man, I appreciate your perspective so much because you are preaching what I preach to people, which is, man, just have your own opinion. Like, don't just follow.
With no hate in your heart. I'm not out here saying you deserve less than me ever to anyone. Even people I disagree with. Right. I don't wish death upon those people. I don't wish harm. Right. No way.
It's just like, the ability to have your own perspective and opinion and do it your way while having a genuine heart is what I think we all should strive for, man. Because there's so many layers to this thing. Like, there's the whole social media aspect. Because, again, like, the black box was a moment. We don't really even, a lot of people don't even have that. Do you consider it
anymore? Does anyone talk about it?
No, that's what I'm saying. A lot of people don't even have it on their grids
right again.
Yeah, like, and I'm saying that because LeBron James just said this. He was like, Black Lives Matter isn't a movement, it's a lifestyle. If you're really about it. Like, and a lot of times we make it a movement which isn't a good thing.
Which is temporary.
Movements come and go. And what people, I think, know, but sometimes choose to ignore, especially people of color, is that a lot of people profit off the Black Lives Matter movement. So they'll take your money that you earned and they'll say, hey, we are starting this fund for this. And you'll put your money there and it won't go to that thing. It'll go into like somebody's pockets. Mm-hmm. And they'll make it seem like they're trying to help and they're not. They're using it to profit. And this is our own people. Mm-hmm. We say support Black-owned businesses, but it'd be your same people who will also take money out your pocket. So that's why I always encourage people to have an open mind to all perspectives so you can make your own decision in anything in life, not even just this, in anything. Mm-hmm. Always be able to have, the ability to hear other people out and then make your own decisions based off what you hear and after careful thinking. And I feel like if a lot of people adopted that kind of mindset in this, then there would be much more of an understanding of each other in the world instead of this great divide when we're judging all white people off of Donald Trump, which is not how we should do it. Like, you should judge, MLK said, judge a man off the content of his character. But we're not doing that. We're judging him off of what this one white man does who we all know sucks. Mm-hmm. And I don't even like saying that about people, but it's just like he just does it to himself. Yeah. And we're basing every white person off that now. Now, granted, there are people out there, white, Black, who are just bad people. Like they do things just to, make a scene, or like there's people who I heard there was white people in Philly protesting who were looting just as much as Black people just because they could and they knew they could get away with it. Xbox. We see all these Karens that they call them now, like throwing temper tantrums out in the middle of the street.
How hard it must be to be a Karen right now if you're a nice lady.
It's like, like there are people in the world who definitely abuse their privilege, and a lot of cops who abuse their privilege, as we've seen on tape and throughout history. Cops abuse their privilege, white and Black. If you remember, I don't know if everybody's familiar with Meek's story, but Meek got beat and got done dirty by Black cops. It wasn't white cops that did this. It was Black cops from his own city that did this to Meek Mill. Lil Wayne talked about a story where he had shot himself by accident in his own crib, and there was 5 cops that walked in. 4 Black cops stepped over him. The only cop that saved him was a white cop. So it's like, it's all about perspective, man. And they killed Lil Wayne because he was like, man, I love white people. But it's like, yo, you didn't consider his experience. Like, 4 of his own kind of people stepped over him while this little kid was shot, and the one man that saved him was a white cop. So just the moral of it is take people as they are. Like, don't loop everybody in a group just because they're a color or because they're a certain ethnicity or they have a certain background. Like, really get to know people, because there's a lot of white people who are for the cause more than a lot of Black people. Yeah. And because social media is the way it is, like, we just see like just a bunch of BS all the time, and we see people all the time who post about Breonna Taylor every day, but in real life they're not even doing anything to help the situation.
I don't even have a Black friend.
Yeah, they don't have a Black friend. They're just doing it because it's cool to do. And there's also people who are really about the cause and really care deeply. Like, the world is too vast and too diverse to ever just like forever anything to be black and white. There's so much gray area.
Do you remember our experience in high school when I got pulled over?
Nah, what happened? I forgot.
You don't remember that?
Nah, what happened?
I don't know if you took it the same way as I did, but I told my parents about this, and my dad was so mad.
Okay.
We were... Really? You don't remember this? Okay. It was senior year, and so senior year of high school, I picked up Brandon every day from about the 10th grade or whatever. Whenever at school, okay, drive down, pick him up, go to school. And we were running late, so I was speeding down a road, whatever, right by our high school. And I got pulled over.
Oh, I remember. Okay.
And when we got pulled over, I was speeding. I was doing like whatever, 38 and a 25, which everyone was doing, whatever. Right. I was running late to school, so fine.
Right.
And I was like, fair enough. I knew I was speeding. The police officer pulled us over and asked me, do you know why you got pulled over? This is my first time I ever got pulled over. I was like, 18 and a half, whatever it is. I was like, I think I was speeding, or whatever it is. Or she told me I was speeding. Doesn't matter. and then you were in the back seat. No, you were in my passenger seat. Austin was in the back seat. Yeah, because he was the freshman. Yeah. So you were sitting in my passenger seat, and I rolled down my window to talk to the officer, and then when I answered, I think you just made like a huffing sound. It wasn't even anything like real audible. Mm-hmm. And then she immediately went straight to you. Right. And she said, "What'd you say?"
Wow. Dang.
And you were like, "Well, I didn't say anything." Like, yeah, all right. Well, I'm talking to him, to me.
Oh, right.
Do you remember this?
I do remember.
I'm not exaggerating this. This was like a real moment in my life where I was like, holy shit, are you profiling Brandon?
Right.
My passenger in the seat? We're both 18 years old, and I remember pleading with the cop. I was like, yo, keep me, but let them go. I literally was saying that. I was like, yo, they're going to be late to school for no reason. It's my fault. Like, let them go. If anything, just let my little brother go. Like, he's a freshman in high school. He does not need to be late. It's my fault. He can walk to school. Give me the ticket. Whatever.
Right.
And she was like, no, you'll all sit here and you'll wait. And then, you remember this? They called 2 more officers, and the sheriff showed up.
Yeah, they did.
And then they flanked the car, and 2 of them stood on your side of the car. Yeah. And then I remember rolling the window up and telling you, yo, just don't say anything, bro. Like, this is fucking crazy. They're just let them give me a ticket and let's go on with our life. But the 2 of them stood one right in front of you and one in my blind spot so that I couldn't see him. And then they made us 30 minutes late to school for no reason. They didn't say anything to us. They just stood there and made us wait, gave us a ticket, and walked away. Bro, I came home and told my dad I got a ticket. That was fine, but I told him about all that.
Yeah.
I was like, Dad, I like locked the car and rolled the window up next to Brandon. Like, they literally were waiting for him to do something.
Right.
And they were like, I remember them asking what's in the car, checking your backpacks, all this stuff. I was like, are you serious? Oh, my mom, that's the first time I ever saw my mom like talk my dad like, okay, this is not okay. There's nothing we can do about it. Oh, my dad was mad as shit. Yeah. And that was the first time I really ever saw it like, oh, that's what racism is. Like, that's 3 white people. By the way, one of them was a white woman.
Mm-hmm. She was the one snapping the most.
She was the sheriff.
Yeah. Wow, bro.
And that always stuck with me. I was like, oh, wow. That's what it's like. And that's bullshit. Like, are you kidding me?
Crazy.
And that's what my mom kept saying. She was like, if they do that to Brandon,
right?
Imagine just if you had like 1 beer in you, right? Imagine if you were just on the wrong road at the wrong time with the wrong cop. Like, wow, that's crazy. And I never meant that to be like, I don't respect police. I work with police every day when people steal cars and all this other shit. Yeah. I have a tremendous amount of respect for them. Thank you for doing their job. Nice. But it was unbelievable just to see racism full on in any context.
Oh, yeah.
Blaringly happening to someone that you really love and know. Not someone on the TV that you can't empathize with.
Made it real for you.
Oh, man. That was it for me. I was like, oh, okay. Totally that's what that is. That's crazy. And there's no context where you should be walking up to anyone, let alone 3 kids in a car.
Yeah.
You think you're a gangbanger? Like, what do you think is about to happen? For real.
I don't know where they're.
Do you remember that now?
I do.
Okay.
And
that's one of like the real defining moments of me in our friendship where I was like, oh no, fuck that. That's my friend. This is crazy right now.
It's totally
this
wrong.
Is crazy wrong.
Totally wrong.
Had nothing to do with that ticket.
I don't know where it's just like, I don't know where they come up with these ideas. I don't know, bro. Like, do they teach these things at the academy? Like, if there's a white person driving, the black person's the passenger seat, like the black person's more dangerous. Like, again, it's probably just how they grew up, man. Because there's like, yo, like, let's keep it real. We happen to live in a part of the country where there's racism, but there's also a good amount of unity too, where we go to a high school where there's so many different types of people, you know, so we learn how to love other people. we're not like in the freaking deep South where it's like, where it's crazy. Like there's still that divide. You know what I'm saying? Like we live in a place where there's still some type of freedom that you can have no matter what color or race or ethnicity that you are. But there are still racist people out there, for sure. Like there are racist people out there. There's still racist people where we live, and there's racist people everywhere. Like, and it's not just white people against black. There's black people who are racist too. That's not talked about enough. Where it's like we can definitely be racist towards white people, for sure. Like we racially profile white people more. Like we do it just as much. Honestly, we may think it's harmless. Like think about this. Like when we go to a basketball game, it's like the white person, he can only shoot. Like he can't, like that's still racial profiling. It's just not as serious as what the cops may do when they see a black guy in the passenger seat. But it's still the same principle. You know what I'm saying? Like we do it, but it's just like, we grew up in a place where it was accepted, like it was okay to like interact with people. Like you just had to. Like there's so many different people that live on the East Coast. There's so many people that live in New York. They migrate to Jersey, you know, whether it's North Jersey or South Jersey. Like there's just a bunch of diverse people that are all around. So you just grow up loving everybody, you know what I'm saying? And you're really able to grow up just like really judging people based off how they treat you and stuff, and not just their skin color. But there's still parts of the world and parts of our country that you still get profiled just because you're black or stuff like that. Yeah. So again, it's just this crazy reality that we live in where there's you can't just keep things black and white, man. You just have to have an open perspective. And you know, as a black person or a minority in general, like what I've been telling people just who have brought it up to me is like, man, the best thing that we can do in those situations is just shut up. Like no matter if we didn't do anything wrong and the cop is totally out of line, we just have to like shut up and just like be still, because like you said, they're looking for anything, bro. Right. Like I understand the whole, you got to stand up for what you believe in, but not like if you can avoid that, like, you know what I'm saying?
So survive this moment.
Survive this moment because there's more to life. Yes. You know what I'm saying? George Floyd had kids, but
some people see it as something willing to die for.
Yeah, so exactly. So it's like it's your perspective. Right. It's your perspective, and everybody is entitled to that perspective. Right. My perspective is like, look, like I got a long life to live. You know, there's a lot of people who like look to me, and there's a lot of people that I love who, if I died just off of this, it would. Like, I'm just thinking about my mom and everything. Like, I can't speak for anybody else. So if I'm in that position and I know that I'm being racially profiled, it's like, you know what? Let me just shut up. Let me just try to survive this moment, because I really don't know what would happen if I would have said anything. Yeah. They could have shot me easily.
Well, yeah, right. Is one argument worth my life? Yeah, with anybody.
Exactly.
Anybody.
And then
a stupid bar fight or with a cop.
It's like you said, like there are people out there who believe the exact opposite, where it's like, no, you got to stand up for what you believe. We can't bow down to the white man. And it's like, man, it depends, bro. Like,
that's your personality, though.
Yeah, it's
what
like,
you choose to do with your life. I mean?
Yeah, and I'm not hating on anybody that believes that.
And it doesn't mean that you believe in the rights less than that person. Right. It's like, whoa, I'm making a decision about my life, though. Right. I'm living my life. Right. You're living your life.
Exactly. Yeah.
My life is different than your life. Do what you want to do.
Man, look, and I
know people take it so personal.
Yeah, it's just the times, man. Again, it has so many things to do with personality, the type of person you are, what you believe in, how you grew up. There's so many factors that make you you. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? I just happen to be a person that can just like not brush off situations, but know how to compose myself and just understand that was just totally out of my control, and there's nothing I can do. And I'm not gonna choose to harp on it. Like, I'm not gonna let those few white cops deter what I feel about my white friends. Like, it's a case-by-case basis, and it's just like,
that's a good way to put it, though. Yeah. It's a case-by-case basis, as with anybody.
That's how we should just view life,
every
bro.
person is their individual person.
Yeah, not everything has to be based off one situation and then we carry that for the rest of our lives. It's like, man, if you just got to judge people based off how they treat you, that's really it. And then there's so many things that are just out of your control in life. So it's like, just off that fact alone, you're going to take your bumps and bruises. You know what I'm saying? But you said something important. You were like, man, you got to think for yourself. Because I put it like this, like, whether you believe in God or not, like, when you go to heaven, there's no, like, mommy and daddy in heaven. We're all just there in heaven. We all, like, just look up to God in heaven. That's all it is. There's no, like, oh, you were my cousin. Like, you don't remember all that in heaven.
You're my boy.
You know, and I always tell people, like, bro, like, that's how you should treat it on earth. Like, of course, we have our family, have our loved ones, but at the end of the day, you got you. And that's it. That's the only person you can really depend on 100%
you go to sleep
of the time
with and wake up
you.
with every day.
Yes. Like, somebody can come and go out of your life just like that, but you are with yourself all the time. So you have to always consider yourself in your life. Now, again, if you're somebody who is that much for the cause where you will lay your life down, all power to you. Incredible. The representative John Lewis just died. He's a perfect example of somebody who just put his life on the line. He went to jail. Like, incredible. He's a hero in that respect. But there's also heroes who...
That's not your obligation as a human being.
Yeah, like,
though.
we all have different purposes, and we all grew up different. Like, he just grew up with that spirit to do that, and he's incredible for it. And I'm glad that... Obviously not glad that he died, but I'm glad that he's getting that recognition.
He lived for a purpose, though.
Yeah,
he lived
and that's all we can do is live for our purpose. If it's to be like Malcolm X or if it's to be like Martin Luther King, you have to decide that. But as long as you're living for your purpose and you have that peace of mind and knowing that, you know what, I wake up every day and I can look in the mirror like AI used to say and say, I gave it my all. Yeah. That's all we can ever do in life. No matter how much money we make, no matter what career we live in, if we have one, it's like we just got to be able to look ourselves and be like, look, I gave it all I could this day, and tomorrow I'm going to try to do the same thing, and I know that because of that, it's going to work out the way that it's going to work out. And that's it, bro. That's all we can do. Lecture, bomb.
Sheesh.
On a lighter note, shout out to Puma, man. You know, like just dripping.
On the lighter note, we need to get this bag.
We need to get this bag, Puma.
Because what I would say, as well as the thing that would change all this is, man, one freaking sponsor, bro.
Oh my god.
Oh my gosh. Yo, let someone pay my rent.
Facts.
It's a
opens
wrap,
things up, bro.
Bro, it's a wrap.
You know what I mean? But yo, we live in a culture where you can get yourself to that point if you grind hard enough.
Sure.
People like well, it's crazy. Like people really think I'm sponsored by Puma, and I'm. You would not.
Think you're in all not, Puma, bro.
But that is one of my goals. It is one of my goals because I feel like. Obviously, when Jay made the move over to Puma, like Jay-Z being like my favorite artist, I was like, dang, okay. Like I started to pay more attention. Then I realized that I had liked Puma, like I had liked the classic sneakers and stuff, but I didn't know they had like other things. Like
you know, Puma and Adidas, they're brothers.
Yeah.
One brother made one and one brother made the other.
So I'm like, all right. And Puma is like still like unique and exclusive enough to where it's like, all right, like I can still create my own way with it without being just like the guy that has all the J's like everybody else. Right. Like I can have my own collection of Pumas, but it's like you can like with this social media era, you can brand yourself.
For sure.
Whether you're doing a podcast or whether I'm just me, yeah. Like I could get sponsored by Sony, I could get sponsored by Puma. You could get sponsored. You can be on Spotify, get that Joe Rogan deal. Sheesh. Like if you keep it up
undisclosed money.
Yeah, if you keep it up consistently enough and you build up a base and you have people that really support you, you could do anything nowadays. That's like the best part of social media to me. It's like anybody can become an entrepreneur through social media.
Yeah, if you're consistent.
Yeah, there's 8-year-olds who have millions of dollars off YouTube, right? And then there's people that are just grinding, doing music, or if they're creative, or if they're just doing pot. Like, there's so many different ways, man. So it's like, just like anything, and like social media is like the ultimate gift and the curse. There's bad things about it. It's an equalizer. Yeah.
Yep. Everyone's got the same opportunity. It's just what you're gonna do with it for sure.
You know, you have the bots out there who will just comment on your page. Like it's just so much going on. But you just have to learn to appreciate everything that comes with anything. It's like no matter what decision we make in life, there's gonna be good things that happen. There's gonna be bad things, and we just have to learn to accept it and learn from it. And I feel like people that do that are the people that really make it, like the Jeff Bezos. Like we remember Amazon just being in a basement and he just wanted to sell books or something.
It was originally just books.
Yeah, and we didn't know we could buy all this gear on Amazon.
Everything.
It just grew, you know, but he had a specific goal and purpose, and just based off the times it grew, based off people supporting it and him being consistent. We look at Steve Jobs and Steve Wozniak. We look at Bill Gates. Like, say what you want about them, or we look at somebody like a Kanye. Like, say what you want about these people, but they had a specific purpose in life, and they stayed consistent, and they got themselves to a point where they are who they are. Yeah. No matter how you feel about them, we all know they're successful at the end of the day.
Right.
And
at the end of the day, it is undeniable.
The money that they have.
Yes.
That's a fact.
You might as well get your own platform, man. You're ready to go.
Bro, this is fire, bro.
But good. You had a good time?
Yeah, this is lit, bro.
It's like a kind of intoxicating experience where you can kind of like fall into this thing where you listen to yourself and it's this very weird like, sensation of trying to get it together.
Yeah, I was like, dang, that was a bar. Like, okay,
that was a bar. Man, I'm really good at this. Yeah. But yes, I mean, I would say obviously. Plug it up, BCTV on Instagram. Sir. Is that really the best place to find you? Check it out.
BCTV Media on Instagram. And then y'all can see a lot of the stuff that I do. I also want to mention North 13th too. A lot of people don't know. Yeah. So like, it really like I also am a partner in another company, a bigger company called North 13th, which is an entertainment company. We have a music division, we have a production division. You know, we have marketing, we have all that, and that is also a startup too. And North 13th is where I really learned how to like tell a story. So the way that BCTV is set up through the sports lens, I learned that through like just telling stories through North 13th, where we work with Comcast, Cadillac, Beats by Dre, the Sixers. We worked with like Draymond Green. We've worked with Mitchell and Ness. Like we've done some really Sprite. We've done some really cool things.
And is that at North 13th?
Yeah, at North 13th.
That's NORTH North 13th.
Just spell that joint out. But I wanted to shout it out because people really don't know. And there's also things that I just want people to discover along the way, because I feel like you shouldn't give up all your secrets to anything. But you know,
you've got a great jumping off point from there, and man. For sure, I'm looking to expand like the equipment and the space here as well to have a couple more people on, and that's when we can have even more group discussions.
You never know, the next podcast might be on location, man.
Yes,
you never know.
I was just about to say so I'm trying to plan out these podcasts for everyone just to kind of get like a schedule for myself and other people. Brandon worked his way in real quick. I can't promise that it will be the next one after this.
It's coming soon, though.
With the guys where I took Brandon before, past to present.
Shout them out.
Past to present SJ, I believe.
Oh, hold on. Let me.
Oh yeah, go ahead. Gear. Yeah, Brandon can go grab some of his gear, but
man.
Basically, I'm trying to time this out, schedule it out a little bit better so that I have guests and people that I can know on a timeline, be ready for, and just be able to curate content a little easier. It just makes it a little more interesting for me. But yeah, here's Brandon with all the stuff. So these guys run an amazing vintage store down here in Jersey, and hopefully we can get them on.
Yo, vintage 2015 Made in America shirt with the whole lineup on that joint. You see Meek on there. You see Queen B on there. J. Cole's on that joint. You feel me?
These guys, these are definitely the homies, and we'll have them on. They're very, very deep in the vintage game, thrifting.
If anybody's
the shirt I'm wearing now is from them as well. I think it'll be an awesome conversation. They're two really cool dudes. And then outside of that, I'm gonna have one of my other really good friends. I'm sure he'll come on.
Swaggy.
So we've got a couple of different things going on. We're going to diversify it.
This is my favorite. Shout out to the guys at the shop, but also shout out to Shane Morton, who gave it.
Shane,
gave it to the guys at the shop.
Shane and Brandon are my best friends who I grew up with. Shane lives right down the hall from me as well.
This is my
favorite. That's the most amazing story. I can't believe they did that.
Yeah, shout out to the guys, man.
We got plenty of guests coming on. It's going to be awesome. And yes, we're definitely going to be switching it up a little bit in the future, which I can't wait for.
Facts, bro.
BCTV Media.
It's gonna go bigger. It's gonna grow, man. Love you too, man.
You got
Let's get it. An hour and 40 minutes.
I told you it.
All right.
It happens naturally.
Let's get it. Hopefully the people like this joint.
We'll see you guys next time. Thank you.
That was lit, bro.